Kyrgyzstan occupies a unique position both historically and today. The Kyrgyz people lived along the ancient Silk Road, which stretched across Central Asia, and they continue to do so today along the modern-day Silk Road, which China has reimagined as a key component of the Belt and Road Initiative. With Chinese President Xi Jinping now visiting the mountainous ex-Soviet Republic, which shares a 1,000-kilometer border with China, it reminds both peoples of a relationship that spans 2 millennia. Where do bilateral ties go from here, and what is China's interest in Central Asia itself? Joining me for the discussion in the Beijing studio are Professor Cui Hongjian, Director of the European Department at the China Institute of International Studies, and Kemal Kalimov, a Kyrgyz student at the University of Science and Technology here in Beijing. Gentlemen, welcome to The Point. So, actually, I think not many Chinese people are very familiar with your country. It has 6.3 million people. The capital is called Bishkek, yes, and per capita GDP is about $1,400 US. So, if you are going to name a few things that typically represent your country, what would you say?
I would say the culture and our big lake called Issyk. It's a beautiful nature.
Okay, so your culture and that beautiful lake.
Yeah.
Anything about your culture, maybe one symbol about your culture? That you
we are very hospitable. It's we know about hospitality from the beginning, from the young age, from the childhood.
Okay, so you've been in China for 5 years, and you are a student in the University of Science and Technology in Beijing. What has impressed you about the Chinese people's understanding of your country, or the lack of it, and the other way around?
Well, there are most of the people, I mean, many people in China don't know a lot about Kyrgyzstan. I mean, they know some information that it's a border and it's a neighborhood, but not many. But I've met lots of Chinese with an older age who know a lot about Kyrgyzstan, probably because it was a part of the Soviet Union. And they have a very good understanding, and they even know some words in Kyrgyz and Russian. That's very impressive.
What about the other way around? For the Kyrgyz people, how close, how familiar is China?
Oh, it's very famous. I mean,
yeah?
China is everywhere. Yeah, it's very popular. And everybody knows China because it's a border, and we have lots of Chinese in our country as well too.
So, Professor Cui, we actually see a kind of imbalance, let's say, of understanding between the two peoples. We, although Kyrgyzstan is immediately at our border, we don't seem to know so much about that country and those people. What's behind this?
I think firstly, especially between China and Kyrgyzstan or some other Central Asian countries, still on the perception with each other, we do have a, I think the problem is we need to, go out from the history, because just like
Kemal.
Kemal mentioned that so far maybe for most of the Chinese people, average people, they just know some history about the Soviet Union and other. But now, indeed, as we know, the Cold War has been finished for more than 40 years. So far we need to have a new concept about Central Asia, about Kyrgyzstan and some other countries. And secondly, of course, I think there will be a new opportunity for us to rediscover the Central Asia. For example, now we have the Belt and Road Initiative.
Yeah.
We have more synergy between the development strategies between two countries, between China and other Central Asia countries. I think now we are getting the bigger opportunity.
Yeah, just as Chinese President Xi Jinping wrote in an article which is published in Kyrgyz media entitled "May China-Kyrgyz Friendship Thrive Like an Evergreen Tree," he says that in 2018 more than 70,000 people traveled between the two countries, and over 4,600 Kyrgyz students were studying in China. That's actually quite a large number of students if you think about the number for the United States, which is 11,000. So it's almost half to that to the number of American students studying in China. Kemal, exactly how to explain this large number of Kyrgyz students? Has it just started in recent years?
From my opinion, it's just China is getting so strong and popular, and people are interested in China so much, not that it was before, because first of all, it is our neighbor, so it is by the border, and we're really interested to learn more about our neighbors and friends. And another thing, China has just a huge potential. and we are really interested in China as well. The students, as someone who can learn more from such a big country, from such a big history, and we're really glad to be part of students here in China.
What do you see as the trend going forward? I mean, is such a large number of students going to continue to expand according to your observation?
Yeah, it is getting more and more popular. There are lots of friends of mine who want to come to China and study here. They also often ask me about China whenever I come home, and they ask me about how's China and how's it going and what's new, what is Taobao, what is online shopping. It's very interesting for Kyrgyz students, and lots of Kyrgyz people have interest in studying in China.
What is the biggest obstacle, though, in your eyes? What's the most difficult thing preventing more student exchanges between the two sides? Have you thought about it?
Yeah, it's kind of maybe scary, because I mean it's always easier to study at home, right? When your parents are there and you're staying by your family and you're not worried about anything. Whenever you come to China, it's still a challenge. It's a challenge to learn new, completely different culture. It's a big challenge, but as soon as you overpass the first steps, I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it.
But is China particularly challenging for Kyrgyz students compared to other countries, or
No,
is it a normal thing?
No, it's a normal thing, I feel, because I've been traveling before and studied in different places.
Okay, so in terms of business relationship, China became Kyrgyzstan's top trading partner and source of investment, with bilateral trade exceeding $5.6 billion last year. That's a 150-fold increase from when the two countries established diplomatic relations in 1992, and total Chinese investment in Kyrgyzstan approached $3 billion. So, Professor Cui, excuse me, can you help us put these numbers into perspective? Exactly how important are trade with Kyrgyzstan for China, and how has been the trajectory?
So I think firstly, if we look at the map, that China and Kyrgyzstan, we are the neighbors, which means that we have more convenient conditions for trade. But of course, still, we especially in the past, we have to face some barriers for the more trade between two countries, because the Kyrgyzstan is an inland country, and indeed, and with some, I would like to say, limited manufacturing or sectors for economy. But I think in recent years, why we had a lot of the increase of the bilateral trade. I think firstly, China invested a lot in Kyrgyzstan to help the fundamental, basis for the economic development, and also China and Kyrgyzstan, we cooperated on some transportation and infrastructure, which provide more convenience for the trade. And of course, at the same time, I think because of the more and more, bilateral, cooperation, especially, for example, the free movement of people, they will give more opportunity for trade, for business itself.
How important is Kyrgyzstan in this group of countries that are under the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which primarily is started with the 5 countries in Central Asia and expanded outwards? How important is Kyrgyzstan in that kind of setting?
Yes.
As
we know that now China played a very active role in SCO, and to try firstly to protect the regional security and the peace. And secondly, now how could China and other members in SCO to promote more and more economic cooperation among the members? I think now it becomes a very pressing and critical issues. So I think now Kyrgyzstan, as we know, it's a neighbor with China, and once China will have some more cooperation with other members of the SCO, undoubtedly Kyrgyzstan would be the top choice for us as a partner. So just like this President Xi's visit in Kyrgyzstan, he mentioned that good friend, good neighbors, and even good brothers. Yeah. I think it's described how it is important for Kyrgyzstan in not only bilateral level with China and also in SCO.
Yeah. Just now we mentioned the SCO exactly, and as a young person, I know that Kyrgyzstan is going to host the 2019 SCO Marathon Series you hosted that in April, a
Yeah.
press conference, and then one of this year's marathons will be held in Issyk-Kul Lake,
Yes,
which is
exactly.
the lake that you mentioned. Tell us a bit about the importance of this marathon, because this is the second time that the SO Marathon is being held outside China, and what does it mean for young people like you?
So as I told, the Issyk-Kul is a big lake, and it's our it's a very special cultural thing for us. We do love it a lot, and tourists who come to Kyrgyzstan, firstly they have to go to the lake too, because they say if you don't go to the Issyk-Kul Lake, then it means you've never been in Kyrgyzstan. What I
will go then.
What I do respect SEO for, that it's not only working on political issues, it's also working on health and sport. And marathon like this is something special for me, because it's more friendly, more simple, and people can go and show themselves on sports and health like this.
So there will be young people from all SO countries?
Yeah, not only young people, everyone who want to join can come. And
how many people will it be? Do we know? How many are we expecting?
Sure, but I don't know for sure, but almost every member of the CO countries will going to come to the marathon.
Yeah. Just now, we also mentioned this online shopping. One of the interesting details in President Xi's article is that he says many Kyrgyz people have taken to online shopping as e-commerce platforms give them a shopping experience like never before. And you also mentioned online shopping, how much you enjoy it here. How special is this aspect of the Chinese economy?
The online shopping is something special. It's like, well, we don't have it much in Kyrgyzstan. We know Taobao in Kyrgyzstan, and you can use it somehow, but it's kind of hard because distance and transportation taking too long, but it's working. But I do enjoy online shopping here in China because it's so easy.
What's the potential then for bilateral trades, let's say, especially under such ideas of e-commerce? Is there a possibility?
It's a huge idea, and it would be very nice in Kyrgyzstan if we have an app or we have a platform like this in our country to have products from China and our products to China as well.
Yeah, well, we're going to leave it there. Many thanks to my two guests, Professor Cui Hongjian of the Chinese Academy of the China Institute of International Studies, and Kemal Kalimov, a Kyrgyz student at the University of Science and Technology in Beijing.